Welcome back to F1 Motor Fever Podcast. And today we're shifting gears to talk about Mexico's finest racing legends, the Rodriguez brothers.
Indeed, Pedro and Ricardo Rodriguez, two names that continue to echo in the annals of Formula One history.
Born in the heart of the 40s, these brothers not only shared parents, but a love for speed as well. Pedro admiring Ricardo's prowess from a tender age.
And Ricardo, known as El Chamaco, was a jack of all trades, motorcycling champion at 13 and a seasoned car racer by 15.
Rising to fame before Pedro, Ricardo was Mexico's beacon of hope and a shining star in international racing, leaving Pedro to bask in his glow.
Their influence wasn't limited to the track, as they played a crucial role in putting Mexico on the global sports map, rubbing shoulders with influential figures.
And Ricardo turned quite a few heads, Luigi Chinetti, the U.S. Ferrari importer, being one of them, leading to Ricardo's impressive stint with the North American racing team.
That's right. Achieving podium finishes at Le Mans and the Nürburgring 1000 kilometers, he certainly made a mark.
And at a ripe age of 19, he joined Ferrari's works team, becoming Formula One's youngest driver. Talk about living life in the fast lane.
Absolutely. But alas, his promising career met a tragic end during a non-championship F1 race in 1962, a loss that still weighs heavy on the hearts of many.
Pedro had to navigate through the fog of grief and uncertainty, unsure of his place in racing after his brother's untimely demise.
However, his career saw a turn when he joined Cooper in 1967, winning the South African GP in his debut race, a phoenix rising from the ashes.
His drive to push through adversity was evident in his Brands Hatch performance in 1968, finishing second after starting from the back.
Pedro continued proving his mettle even against rivals with more powerful cars, mastering wet conditions like a true rain dancer, especially in the Brands Hatch 1000 kilometers.
His knack for balancing the car in challenging conditions was legendary, earning him a spot amongst the greats like Bernd Rosemeyer.
Famous for his aloofness, Pedro believed that keeping a distance from other drivers helped him maintain his edge on the track.
His fearlessness and racing prowess are still celebrated, even after his tragic accident in 1971 during a testing session.
The Rodriguez brothers' story is not just a chapter in Mexico's race history. It's an epic saga of talent, passion, and the ultimate sacrifice for the sport they loved.
Their legacy resonates beyond borders, a testament to their immense talent, shaping the face of Formula One in their homeland and inspiring generations to come. Good morning, racing fans. This is your host, George, alongside the eloquent and observant William Turner, bringing you a special historical slice of our beloved sport in a not-so-common Thursday episode of F1 Motor Fever Podcast.
Hello, everyone. It's always a pleasure to delve into the rich history of Formula One with you.
That's right, William. Although we're not your regular host, Enzo, we promise to serve you the same passion and energy. As you know, our Thursday morning specials are when we shift gears and take you on a ride down memory lane.
Indeed, we take a pit stop from the present to explore the timeless moments that shaped this great sport.
Absolutely. And folks, before we dive in, a quick favor. If you're enjoying our content, please hit that subscribe button, activate notifications, and drop us a comment. We love hearing from you. And don't forget to share with your friends and family. It helps keep F1 Motor Fever Podcast rolling.
Your support means a lot to us and ensures we can continue to bring you these engaging discussions about the world of Formula One.
Well said, William. And let's not forget the kicker. Want to know more about the Rodriguez brothers and their impact on Mexico and the world of Formula One? Stick around, folks.
A story of talent, passion, triumph, and tragedy. A race down a track paved with the indomitable spirit of two brothers.
This is a story of courage and resilience, a tale that has shaped motorsport in ways that still resonate today. So fasten your seatbelts, folks. It's going to be one thrilling ride as it's full throttle here on F1 Motor Fever Podcast. So, our focus today, the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, is a testament to two of Mexico's greats, the Rodriguez brothers. An honor that befits their contribution to the sport. Would you agree?
Most certainly. Their impact on Formula One was outstanding, and it's fitting that Mexico's finest circuit carries their name.
Born in Mexico City, these brothers were not just siblings, but close friends as well. They say Pedro saw a spark of unique talent in Ricardo, a testament to the bond they shared.
And Ricardo didn't disappoint, did he? Known as El Chamaco, the Kid, he was a multitude of talents. From racing to skiing, his prowess knew no bounds.
Absolutely, a champion motorcycle racer at 13 and a seasoned race car driver by 15. You'd think he was born to race.
And though many remember him as the tragic younger brother of Pedro, who himself won 2 Grand Prix, it's important to note that Pedro's journey wasn't easy either.
Right you are. Pedro lived in Ricardo's shadow during the early years, but he rose to become a legend in his own right, especially in sports cars. His talent in wet conditions was nothing short of extraordinary.
Indeed, a tale of 2 brothers, their passion for speed, and their everlasting impact on the sport. Truly, a story for the ages.
A story worth remembering as we look forward to the upcoming Mexico City Grand Prix, a race that carries the legacy of these 2 extraordinary drivers.
As we revisit their journey, we're reminded that the spirit of the Rodriguez brothers continues to live on in the heart of Formula One, a tribute, a legacy, a testament to their indomitable spirit.
So these brothers, they were big time, weren't they? Rubbing shoulders with the likes of President Lopez Mateos, all thanks to their father, Don Pedro. Talk about having the right connections.
Oh, absolutely. But let's not forget that their talent spoke volumes.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. They had to impress on the track to make a name. And Ricardo, he didn't just impress his countrymen, but also Luigi Chinetti, the U.S. Ferrari importer.
Quite right. In fact, by the age of 19, he was racing a North American racing team Ferrari, and even finishing second at Le Mans. That's not something you see every day.
Ha! I reckon most 19-year-olds nowadays are struggling to pass their driving test. Meanwhile, Ricardo was out there winning races for Ferrari.
Ha ha ha, indeed. A stark difference, wouldn't you say? But that's what makes this story so fascinating.
Absolutely. And let's not forget the Le Mans race in 1962. Our brothers had quite the drive in Chinetti's car. A fantastic chapter in their racing saga.
Oh, indeed. These brothers were truly larger than life. Racing circuits by day, mingling with presidents by night. If that's not living life in the fast lane, I don't know what is.
Ha ha ha. Couldn't agree more, my friend. If only we could all live such thrilling lives, eh?
Ha ha ha. A little too thrilling for me, I reckon. But it's what made them the legends they are today.
Let's not forget that these brothers were not just risk-takers, but also innovators in their own right. Do you remember the Le Mans race where they drove flat out even in the dark?
I do indeed. Kept the veterans on their toes for a solid 15 hours, didn't they?
That they did. Unfortunately, their race car's transmission wilted after 174 laps. But what an effort nonetheless.
Absolutely, it was a display of sheer determination and resilience, something that became a trademark of their racing style.
And in Formula One, Ricardo was often as fast as the world champion-elect Phil Hill. He even outqualified him around the Nürburgring, finishing 6th.
Indeed, a prodigious talent. And despite Ferrari's absence from the inaugural non-championship F1 race in Mexico City, Ricardo didn't hesitate to race in front of his countrymen.
Taking the wheel of Rob Walker's Lotus 24 Climax, no less. What a character.
A true testament to his passion for the sport. Rob Walker himself was worried about the immense pressure on such a young lad.
Mate, speaking of pressure, did you hear about that call Rob made to Ricardo on the morning of the race?
Oh, absolutely. A simple gesture, but it just goes to show how much admiration and concern there was for this young man.
Well, when you're a rising star, that's the kind of attention you get, isn't it?
Ha ha ha, indeed. But let's not forget, not everyone can handle such attention with grace and tenacity as the Rodriguez brothers did.
The story sadly takes a heartbreaking turn from here. Ricardo, thrilled with Lotus 24, was fastest in practice until John Surtees overtook him. Wanting to restore local honor, he got back into the cockpit.
Yes, a decision that proved fatal as he lost control on the bumpiest part of the famed 180-degree Peraltada corner's banking.
Tragically, he hit the barrier head-on and was thrown out of the car. The injuries were horrific, eerily similar to what Francois Sever would suffer many years later.
A devastating loss indeed. Theories swirled about what could have caused the accident. Some suggested a broken suspension component. Others wondered if the tricky handling on the limit had caught him out.
Either way, the result was the same. The gifted 20-year-old was gone, and his death touched Mexican society at every level. It's hard to comprehend such a loss, especially when we think about what more he could have achieved in his career.
It's true. It shakes you to the core. As Joe Ramirez admitted in his autobiography, it felt as if his whole world had ended, a sentiment shared by many, I'm sure.
Therein lies the harsh reality of this sport, doesn't it? Amidst the glamour and the thrill, there's this undercurrent of danger that can claim lives in an instant.
An all-too-stark reminder of the risks these drivers take every time they get behind the wheel. It's a sobering thought, one that casts a long shadow over the thrill and excitement of the race.
Following Ricardo's tragic death, Joe Ramirez, a famed mechanic and team coordinator, was devastated. He said he was ill for 2 days, shivering and shaking, without the will to do anything.
Quite understandable. Ricardo was a charismatic personality whose loss was felt deeply, not just by his family, but also by those in the racing circuit who had come to see him as one of their own.
Yes, it's a sobering reminder of how closely knit the racing community is. Ramirez even said that Ricardo should have won the World Championship one day and brought it to Mexico, as was his dream.
A dream that sadly remained unfulfilled. But his brother Pedro tried to keep the racing legacy alive, even though he was initially unsure about continuing in the sport.
Quite right. He occasionally drove Grand Prix as a stand-in at Lotus. But it wasn't until he joined Cooper in 1967 that we saw a resurgence of the Rodriguez racing spirit.
Indeed, he won first time out in the South African Grand Prix, a bit of a fortuitous circumstance, but a win nonetheless. By doing so, he made a strong statement about his capabilities as a racer.
And let's not forget how he gave Jochen Rindt, the team leader, a hard time for the rest of the season. He may have been introverted compared to his brother, but on the track, he was just as fierce and competitive.
Absolutely. It's as if he channeled his grief into his racing, carrying on the legacy of his brother. It's a testament to his strength and determination, traits that are undoubtedly essential in this high-stakes sport.
Just as a side note, much of what we've been discussing today comes from an article I read on the Formula One website. It was penned by David Tremayne and published on the 29th of October, 2023.
David Tremayne is a well-respected author in Formula One circles. His articles are known for their depth and accuracy. It's definitely one of the reliable sources we can reference in our discussions.
Yes. It's always crucial to cross-check our information, especially when we're delving into the lives of such iconic figures in the sport. Right. Let's get back on track. Pedro's commitment to racing really started to shine through after a while. At Brands Hatch in March 1968, he made an impressive comeback driving his BRM P133 from the back of the grid to second place in the Race of Champions. It was an absolutely magnificent drive.
His performance that season was stellar. Despite the underpowered BRM, he gave his rivals a tough challenge. He led at the International Trophy race at Silverstone and the Spanish Grand Prix before crashing on oil.
Yes, he continued to put up a spirited fight, taking second place at Spa despite a broken front anti-roll bar and securing third in the rain at Zandvoort. His dedication to the sport was nothing short of inspirational.
Indeed, he even led a lap in the rain at Rouen and was on track to finish second until a gearbox failure. It's clear Pedro was an incredibly talented racer whose ability was not always reflected in his equipment.
Blimey, it really makes you think how relentless the world of Formula One is, doesn't it? So much grit, so much determination, it's absolutely riveting. What do you all think, my lovely audience? It's astonishing, isn't it, to think of the trials these drivers face? Makes you appreciate the sport in a whole new light. Do you agree? Feel free to share your thoughts. Remember, this is a conversation, and we'd love to hear from you. Now, let's carry on with our journey. You know, this chat about racing in the rain reminds me of that one time I tried to ride a bicycle during a downpour. I ended up in a hedge looking like a drowned rat. It was quite the adventure, let me tell you.
Haha, that's quite the detour. We went from discussing Pedro Rodriguez's impressive racing career to your bicycle mishaps.
Oh, my apologies. I did get a bit carried away there. Let's get back to discussing the remarkable world of Formula One and the undeniable courage displayed by these drivers. It's truly incredible, isn't it? Pedro's career continued to impress. He held his own in challenging conditions, finishing 6th in the rain and fog at Nürburgring, 3rd in Canada, 4th in Mexico.
It wasn't just about holding his own, was it? That same year, Pedro clinched a victory at the prestigious Le Mans, driving John Wyer's JW Automotive Ford GT40. As a seasoned professional, he was finally receiving the respect and recognition he deserved.
Indeed, even the tumult of being dropped by BRM boss Lewis Stanley in 1969 didn't dampen his spirits. He made a strong return with the rejuvenated Bourne team in 1970, and what a comeback it was. He won the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa despite a race-long pressure from Chris Amon's march.
Yes, many experts finally acknowledged his maturity into a world-class driver. His drive in the Gulf Porsche 917, in dreadful conditions in the Brands Hatch 1,000 kilometers, was a particularly standout performance.
The rain truly was Pedro's domain, wasn't it? That drive was arguably the greatest wet weather performance of all time. Despite being delayed by a black flag and a lecture from the clerk of the course, he didn't falter. He simply stared ahead until it was over, then boiled back into the race a lap down. Truly remarkable, don't you think? One can't discuss Pedro Rodriguez without mentioning his masterful command of the Porsche 917. His skill was such that he could maneuver the powerful machine as though it were a mere toy.
Indeed, his artistry was unparalleled. While others might struggle, Pedro would glide the Gulf car through the 180-degree Druid's right-hander in one harmonious oversteer arc. It truly was pure artistry.
Comparing his driving to that of Vic Elford, Pedro outperformed him by 5 laps. It was as if he was driving one of the most powerful cars in the world on an ice rink. It was said that Pedro and the 917 were made for each other.
And certainly, no one drove the Porsche 917K better than Pedro. His win at Brands Hatch in 1970 was a testament to his skill behind the wheel.
John Wyer, the no-nonsense team leader, had no doubts about Pedro's abilities. He believed Pedro was the greatest driver of his time.
Wyer's team manager, David York, regarded him as one of the most intelligent drivers around. He observed that Pedro could analyze a situation almost before it developed.
Chris Amon, a fellow driver, admired Pedro's skills in the wet. He compared Pedro's driving to sleight of hand and noted that Pedro never put a wheel wrong. He really did drive beautifully. Remarkable, isn't it? Pedro's driving precision was something to behold, wasn't it? As one fellow driver put it, if it hadn't been for finishing only second, it would have been beautiful to watch.
His control in challenging conditions was such that his colleagues joked, questioning whether anyone had told Pedro it was raining. His ability to balance the car was described as ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, by BRM team manager Tim Parnell.
Even when faced with technical issues, Pedro demonstrated his tenacity. A faulty fuel metering unit forced him to settle for second place to fellow Rainmaster Jackie Ickx after a spirited battle at Zandvoort in 1971.
And just a week later, Pedro was back in action in the Oostenrijkring 1,000 kilometers, leading initially, then losing 6 minutes with a flat battery. But did that stop him? Not at all. He fought back, handed the wheel to his teammate Dickie Atwood for only 10 laps, then stormed back into the lead lap.
He proved just how unyielding he could be, pressurizing Clay Regazzoni into crashing his Ferrari and eventually winning the race. This was considered by many, including John Wyer, to be his greatest race.
Journalist Mike Cotton, who was spectating that day, recalled, "It was an amazing drive, 4.5 hours. A true testament to Pedro's indomitable spirit, wouldn't you say?"
Pedro was known for his endurance. After that grueling 4.5-hour drive, he got out of the car without even breaking a sweat.
That's the mark of a true professional. Although Pedro was tough on the track, he was also fair. He had an air of mystery about him, preferring to keep his distance from other drivers.
He once told Tim Parnell, "I don't really like to know the other drivers, or for them to know me too well and perhaps know how I think and react to things." A bit of psychological warfare, perhaps?
Possibly, But it's also something my mother used to say. Never show all your cards. Keep a bit of mystery about yourself.
That's an interesting perspective. Pedro was always ready to seize an opportunity. When BRM's P167 Can-Am car broke its Chevrolet in testing, he swiftly accepted a drive in an inter-series sports car race at the Norris Ring.
Even in the face of adversity, he led the race until a tragic accident took his life.
It's such a loss. Beyond the track, Pedro was a dapper figure, known for his Bentley, his deerstalker hat, and a bottle of Tabasco sauce he always carried with him. To his mechanics and team, he was a fearless little god. Pedro's legacy has echoed throughout the decades, inspiring countless fans.
Indeed, for many, including a certain young fan, Pedro was their first racing driver hero. His loss on the 11th of July, 1971, marked a day when a light went out in racing.
His memory still shines brightly, reminding us all of an extraordinary man and an extraordinary talent. His legacy will live on in the annals of Formula One history, won't it?
Absolutely. His skill, determination, and spirit will continue to inspire future generations of racers and fans alike. Pedro Rodriguez, a name that will forever be synonymous with mastery and fearlessness in the world of racing.
Thanks for joining us today on F1 Motor Fever Podcast, as we took a fascinating trip down memory lane, exploring the light and shadow of Pedro Rodriguez, one of the true greats of Formula One. We hope you learned as much as we did. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Your support means the world to us. And don't forget to share this episode with your fellow Formula One enthusiasts. If you have any thoughts or memories of Pedro, drop us a comment below.
And for those who love a good suspense, I promise you, we have something super exciting in the pipeline. You don't want to miss our next episode. And hey, shout out to Enzo. We know you're going to love this one.
It's always a pleasure sharing these moments with you. We're already looking forward to our next episode. But until then, remember, William and George, pedal to the metal. Keep your gaze on the road. Our channel's content is pure gold.